Yeah? So, good morning to everyone. Hi. Good morning. We're going to be starting now. Okay, so good morning and welcome all to this pitching forum in the Evolution Mallorca International Film Festival. My name is Marisa. I'm going to be moderating this pitching forum and I'm going to be helping out with the translation into English. This is going to be a conversation in English. If anyone has any trouble understanding anything, please let me know. And first of all, I'm going to introduce you all to Pedro Barbadillo. He's the director of the Mallorca Film Commission. So Pedro, whenever you want.
So thank you very much for being here. It's a pleasure to see a full room of producers, directors, and people from the industry in this such challenging times. Well, as Marisa said, this is a joint venture from Evolution Film Festival and Mallorca Film Commission. We are trying to get as better as possible conditions for filmmaking on the island, and that means not only offering location, that's important, offering our meteorology that's very favorable for shooting, but also putting in contact producers and directors and broadcasters from around the world with the Mallorcan and Balearic industry in terms to foster co-production, to foster the advancement of projects. So I hope you will have a very good time today. There are 6 very interesting projects, 4 very talented and experienced juries. So I hope that the result will be interesting for everybody. Thank you very much.
So first up, we're going to start introducing our panelists for today. We have 4 international producers that are going to be giving their feedback to the pictures. So please, Jessica, Malik, and Ben Charles, if you can come and join me up here.
Let's go first.
No, how daunting.
Nice to meet you. Ben, we take these off?
Yes, if you don't mind, we're going to be taking off our masks here so it's easier for everyone to understand what we're saying. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, so first up, Jessica Malik. She's a British producer. She works for Popcorn Group and Rebel Park Productions. In 2015, she co-founded Rebel Park Productions together with 2 other colleagues. And I love to say this because she set this company as a reaction, and I'm going to read it so I get it right, as a reaction to a largely male-dominated content cast and crew in the film and TV industry. So Jessica, welcome. Thank you for being here. And I would like to know, can you please tell us what you're expecting to hear from these pitches today?
Oh, well, I'm expecting to hear a whole variety of different stories coming at us today. But I guess the ones that I'm going to be most interested in are going to be the ones that have really strong developed female characters within them somewhere. They don't have to necessarily be all female, or they don't necessarily have to be, no men or anything like that. We're not staunch, crazy feminists. We're just people who like to see well-rounded, developed, complicated, troubled, flawed female characters.
That's perfect. Can you please tell us a little bit of what you've done to now?
Oh my gosh, what have I done? I have an interesting route into the industry because I started out a lawyer. That's how I trained. And then I ended up in finance and distribution, working for a company called Capital Films, which and Exclusive Media, and we co-finance things like Gosford Park, Rush, The Woman in Black, sort of big movies in that sort of range. And then I left, and since then, I'll just give you a nutshell because we haven't got much time. But in the last couple of years, I did a film called She Will that won Best First Feature at Locarno with a debut female filmmaker called Charlotte Colbert, which we just premiered at the London Film Festival. I'm in post-production on a film about Salvador Dali starring Ben Kingsley, which Mary Harron directed, who did American Psycho, for those of you who know her. which we're
One of my
just,
favourites.
she's fab, which we're just doing the final mix for. And at the moment I'm in production on a 6-part TV series for Sky based on Nick Hornby's novel Funny Girl, starring Gemma Arterton and Rupert Everett and David Threlfall and others. So it's nice to be here and not in Liverpool.
Sounds
for
like a
brief
lot of men in
moment.
that lineup, though, considering
Yeah.
you're only looking for women.
No, but I'm not only looking for women, that's the thing.
They just have to wear dresses.
Yeah, no, not at all. But Funny Girl is interesting because it's sort of the Lucille Ball story in a way. So it's about a woman who is funny, but she's also beautiful. It's a bit like I Love
Yeah.
Lucy. So it's Nick Hornby wrote the novel, and it's sort of Lucille Ball mixed with the Barbara Windsor story.
Great.
So it's super fun, but I mean, at the heart of it is this woman who's incredibly beautiful, but she just wants to be slapstick funny. She doesn't want to be a beauty queen, which she also is at the same time. So it's sort of those complicated characters that we're looking for. But as I say, you know, there's some great male characters in all of them. We're not looking to do an unbiased view of the world.
That's good. Well, it's going to be very interesting for the pitchers to hear your opinions about them, so thank you. So next up is Ben Charles. Ben is a British producer, director, and writer, if that's it right? And he works for Goldfinch, and in fact, one of his latest films, A Bird Flew In, is competing in this year's edition of the Evolution.
Sunday.
Exactly.
And in fact, we've got the director here in the pink mask.
Oh, okay. Hi. So yes, as Ben said, this film will be screening on Sunday. I'm very looking forward to watching it. So Ben, in your experience as a director, producer, and writer, I'm pretty sure you have had to pitch projects and ideas to certain people. So what do you do? How do you prepare to pitch projects?
It's a big question.
Yeah, it is.
I think it depends on the project. It also depends who you're pitching to. I think that so I run production at Goldfinch, which is one of the largest independent UK film financiers and production companies. And every Monday we have a thing called a big submissions meeting where we go through hundreds of movies that have come in. Could be a script, could be a development, could be people looking for some money to complete on the film. But we get it helps if it's on. So we get a huge plethora of films. And the hardest thing about reviewing those is you don't get to see the filmmaker a lot of the time. Some of them are through filmmakers we've either worked with before, or people perhaps we've met in an event and so on. But the majority of the time you are just looking at some words on a page. And that's quite a shame really, because these are human stories, and wherever they're coming from, if it's from the director, his or herself, from the writer, I want to know the person, and especially if we're going to be working with that person for anything from 6 months to 2 years, you don't want to work with an arsehole. You want to work with, and the industry can be full of egos. So I think the first thing I look for is somebody that I think I could get along with, and somebody that's come to it for the right reasons. So when I'm pitching, if I haven't for many years, I mean the last time I directed a movie was 2018 in New York, and in fact they came to me and threw the money at me, so I was lucky with that. But I think if I'm pitching, I would want to come from a very personable approach. I would want to know the person I'm pitching to as well and have an informal conversation with them. It's an exchange making a movie, and I think the biggest mistake we feel at Goldfinch that we can get from filmmakers is them coming into the room and saying, this is going to win an Oscar. It's like, oh, shut up, come on. And if it is, then great, amazing, we backed the right horse. But essentially, it is show business. It's not show art. You want to have that. Of course, you want to tell innovative, amazing stories. And at Goldfinch, we only specialise now on diverse subjects, if that's from particular communities, because we believe that filmmaking is, as it always was for the last 100 years, it's a very, very innovative medium, and it's always evolved based on human stories that have happened at particular points. And I think since the 90s we've got lazy, and we've started to make the same kind of movies from the same kind of people, and it's dull. And now we're in a place where I feel like we're coming into an enlightened moment. So from pictures, I want to see something that's really now. Why are we selling this story now? Why is it important now? And I want to like the person.
So relevant stories and also human connection. I think that's very important.
Yeah.
So because we don't have much time, can you please tell us very quickly something of what you've done or what you're up to?
Well, I started as a portrait painter, and I had a show in MoMA in 2008, met a couple of actors, and I said, I want to make short films. So they financed them, and that's how I got into the industry and started with music videos, commercials, and then features, writing. And then in the last year, I've produced or directed 3 movies. One produced for Kirsty, that's playing here, a horror that I wrote and directed in New York, which we just sold to international, to a very good company. So that will be coming out. It's up for 3 awards in Hollywood. It just opened up at the Chinese Theatre. And I remember being a kid and walking down in Hollywood and thinking, my God, one day, imagine if I could ever film there. And ironically, I did, and I couldn't attend because of COVID, which is a shame in the ass. And I've just produced with Kirsty, Quant, a movie about Mary Quant, the fashion designer that liberated women, which is a hugely important subject, we felt. It was directed by a friend of ours, Sadie Frost. And I hope by the second week, it opens at cinemas tonight in the UK, and by the second week we could break some records with the amount of screens that it books. And again, that was a really just, I know I'm going over time, that was sorry, unlike me. That's a really important subject because we always thought that it was only going to be of interest to a particular set of women that perhaps remembered Mary Quant and the miniskirts and so on. In fact, we couldn't have been further from the truth. What it's actually doing is, it's being shown at colleges now, we're getting students coming forward. The youth in London are all over it because essentially her story was one of female empowerment. And that's still relevant now, and I think it's really interesting for these young girls to be able to look back and see what a woman had done for them in the past.
Of course it is, Ben. I'm going to have to cut you.
Sorry.
Yeah. So thank you both. We're going to be hearing more of you later on. So can you please return to your seats? And I'm going to call. I'm sorry. Yes, that's right. Yeah. So the other 2 panelists that we have today are Victor Carrera and Karwyn Jones.
We've got about 1 minute.
Well, blame it on Ben because that's his fault. So Victor is a Spanish producer. Since 1985, he's been working on TV3, which is the regional television station in Catalonia. He's done everything there, and I have to say, Victor isn't new to this kind of panels because you've been a juror in many international events such as Docs Barcelona and also the International Emmy Awards. So Victor, we would like to know if you could share with us what kind of projects are TV3 looking for right now?
So the thing a little bit is TV3 is a kind of middle-sized broadcaster in a minority language, which has helped us to premiere some products which then have had an international print. So that's the only good news I can give you.
Okay.
Then nowadays we have made a call for series projects to choose, because we have been, our production has stopped for a while because of the pandemic. It has been a little disaster. And to try to renew the projects, we have made a call for series, and we have chosen 6 projects, and hopefully in 2022 we will make a new call. So we are always looking for, in fact we have been quite successful in series which focus on young people. We started with a series which was called The Red Band Society, which traveled very well around the world, and from that on we have been quite successful in producing series which talk about the empowering of young people and especially women. So on the other side, we we still are the broadcaster which produces and broadcasts more documentaries in Spain. But this is a little bit business as usual. I mean, we are ready to receive documentary projects and ready to co-produce with them, but always through Catalan production company, because our mandate is helping the Catalan industry. But of course, it's from Mallorca. It's very easy to have this kind of link and come to see us, and everybody's welcome.
So I have to say that TV3 is one of the few broadcasters that programs documentaries on prime time, which is very good and good news for all of us. So very quickly, because Ben didn't leave us much time, can you please tell us a little bit of what you're doing and what you've done, because you've done everything.
Almost everything. Being a Jurassic guy for this industry, I've done almost everything. In fact, my happiest years were when I was producing, and I was head of news and documentary production. So I spent a lot of time producing documentaries, and nowadays I'm in charge of the international distribution of our catalog, and that's it.
Thank you, Victor. Next up is Karwyn Jones. Karwyn is a British-Canadian producer. He's worked on producing on Hollywood feature films and TV series.
Well, I wasn't a producer, but I was on them.
Are you going to start saying
sure,
that?
sure.
I'm sorry, don't interrupt me.
Because they're going to think, oh, he's a producer. I wouldn't know.
Okay, well, you've worked on Hollywood feature films and also TV series. You've also worked on development in Film 4 in the UK. And you've also produced some award-winning short films. You're the co-founder of Anorak Films, which is a production company that does short docs and web videos for digital platforms. And there you produce, write, and edit those short films. So I would like to say, in your role as a script reader in Film 4, you must have gone through hundreds of pages of scripts. Can you share with us what does a script need in order to catch your attention?
Okay. Well, I did read a lot of scripts. I tell you what I don't want it to do when I turn the first page is to look like a block of text, like a novel. I tended to look, if I opened a script, at Film 4 I used to read maybe like 30 scripts a week, and most of them were awful. But anyway, I had to write coverage on, I had to give some feedback. So if I opened page 1 and there was no white space, and I'd be like, oh God, no. That probably says more about me and my lack of professionalism than anything else. But to me, it's about brevity. If you're writing you're not writing a novel, you're not writing prose, you're not writing poetry, you're writing for the screen, which is a really specialist skill, I find. So it's, for me, it's about brevity, clarity. It's, all those things we talk about, which is how do you get subtle exposition in, characterization. Can you get into the world? Do you create that world quickly? What is that world? And then does it hook? And also, am I interested? Like, is there something? I think what Ben says, why now? Why have I been sent this? Why is this on my desk now? So
Okay.
what was the other one?
And very quickly, like Victor, can you please tell us a little bit of what you're up to and what you've done?
Yeah, everything from a T-boy to a producer, and pretty much most things in between. London, Vancouver, and now basically working on social media stuff. So I've actually had to learn in the last 8 years, not just how to produce, but how to edit, shoot, do, boom, everything, which is actually really cool, because I've got, and also do animation as well. So a little bit of everything, and I still make the tea, so,
Well,
Very good.
it's all good.
well, thank you all for being here. Can you please sit there? Let's give them all some applause. So now we're going to the important part of this, which is we're going to hear 6 different projects. Amazing projects. I have to say that I've had the opportunity to see them, and they're very well thought. And each one of the pictures is going to have 3 minutes to present their project. Some of the pictures have chosen to do the introduction in Spanish, so I'm going to be translating into English. For those people, instead of 3 minutes, we're going to give them 6 minutes because, of course, it takes a little bit of time to translate. And then after each presentation, the panelists are going to have 7 minutes between all of them to give the feedback. And just so you know, after this, we all are invited to a buffet, so the pitchers will have some more time to informally talk to the panelists if they want to. So let's start up with Marina. Marina Wagner is here to present Cloro. Vale. So Marina is going to do the introduction in Spanish, so I'm going to be translating. So here we are. Sí.
Pues hola a todos, yo soy Marina, he coescrito el guión del thriller Cloro junto a mi compañera Lucía Malvido, que hoy no puede estar con nosotros, y muchísimas gracias por estar aquí escuchándonos y gracias a la Evolución por hacerlo posible. No sé si me traduces ahora.
Ah, como quieras. Bueno,
sí.
Sí.
Yo creo que mejor.
Vale, vale. So she's Marina, she said, Marina Wagner. She's co-written Cloro together with, ¿cómo se llama tu compañera? Lucía Malvido. And well, she thanks everyone for being here and also the Mallorca Film Festival and the Evolution Mallorca International Film Festival for organizing this.
Decidimos empezar a escribir Cloro cuando nos dimos cuenta, nos preguntamos por qué, ante casos claros de abuso sexual a menores, a menudo los adultos que deberían proteger a estos niños parece que hacen como si nada estuviese pasando. Investigamos casos actuales y casos ya prescritos y nos dimos cuenta de que era algo que se repetía muchísimo. Entonces nos hicimos una nueva pregunta. ¿Qué sucede cuando, en medio de este clima de silencio, alguien decide alzar la voz?
So this project started when she and Lucia started wondering why in those abuses, sexual abuses to minors, the adults who are supposed to be taking care of those minors, many often they choose to look the other way. And they started investigating other cases and they realized that this happens very often.
Cloro se inicia con una inmensa frenada de tierra ocre cercada por unas vallas. Estamos en Berlín, en un parking de trenes. De repente vemos a un grupo de grafiteros encapuchados que empiezan a escalar. Empiezan a pintar y a medida que nos acercamos nos damos cuenta de que es una crew absolutamente formada por mujeres. De pronto, el grito de una joven las interrumpe. Todas deciden huir, excepto una persona. Esa persona es nuestra protagonista, Cristina.
So Cloro begins in a desolated solar in Berlin, right? And they all of a sudden see a gang of people approaching, and this gang is formed by women. And so everyone starts running away except for one person. This is the protagonist. Her name is?
Cristina, porque escucha un grito de mujer y todas suben.
Cristina. So they all listen or hear a scream, and that's why they all start running away except for one. Her name is Cristina.
Cristina es una grafitera, estudiante de Bellas Artes, que vive empalmando un Erasmus tras otro, huyendo de un hogar roto en Madrid. ¿Qué sucede? Que la crisis sanitaria del 2020 la obliga a regresar y a enfrentarse con ese hogar que parece paralizado en el tiempo y se encuentra con una madre absolutamente carcomida por la culpa.
So Cristina is a graphic designer. She's on an Erasmus trip in Berlin, and she got to Madrid running from a broken home in Madrid. And because of the economical crisis in 2020, she is forced to go back to Madrid, and that's when she has to confront a broken home with her mother.
Bueno, y allí su tutor de TFG la obliga a hacer el trabajo sobre la arquitectura digital. Al principio ya no quiere hacer el trabajo sobre eso, pero poco a poco encuentra, el encuentro fortuito de una caja de recuerdos que pertenecía a su hermana, le hace plantearse hacer una aproximación artística al dolor de esta, que se quitó la vida a los 13 años, entonces decide orientar así el proyecto.
So because she's still doing her thesis, her tutor forces her to do a thesis about digital architecture, and she doesn't want to do it, but at home she finds this box that used to belong to her deceased sister that had taken her life when she was only 13. So she starts working on it.
Lo que comienza siendo un aburrido y esteticista trabajo terminará convirtiéndose en una absoluta investigación súper encarnizada en la que descubrirá que su hermana sufrió abusos sexuales en el club de natación sincronizada donde entrenaba.
So what began as a boring project, it turns into a very interesting and intense work of investigation about why what happened to her sister, and she discovers that her sister used to be abused in the swimming club that she used to be in.
Cristina, en su proceso de investigación, logrará dar voz a unas niñas convertidas hoy en mujeres que están deseosas de que se haga justicia y tendrá que enfrentarse también a los descubrimientos que hizo su hermana, que hicieron que su hermana quisiese quitarse la vida. Nos preguntamos si junto a su madre podrá superar esos descubrimientos y seguir hacia adelante o seguirán carcomidas y paralizadas por la culpa.
Qué rápido hablas.
Sí, no, hablo. Sí,
No. So Cristina, no, it's very good. I'm sorry, I'm trying to do my best, but she speaks very quickly. Yeah. So Cristina tries to give a voice to all those girls who are now adults who suffered those abuses. And she's trying to look for justice, and she also has to confront what drove her sister to take her own life, and she's going to try to do that together with their mother.
Creemos que Cloro es el thriller que necesitan los jóvenes de hoy en día porque es uno de los pocos que quiere establecer un diálogo entre los inicios de los años del 2000, cuando empezamos con todas las redes sociales, la romantización de la tristeza, y la actualidad. Además, les habla en un lenguaje que ellos conocen, un lenguaje millennial, que lo aproximaría a obras como, por ejemplo, I May Destroy You.
So Cloro is a thriller that is aimed to young people. They think that it's a very important project for young people. It establishes a dialogue between the early years of the 2000s and nowadays. Y se me ha olvidado lo último.
Bueno, y que lo vincula con obras como, por ejemplo, I May Destroy You.
I May Destroy You, and it's it relates to films like I May Destroy You.
Lejos de hablar de la venganza.
Estoy atrasado. Pero ha tenido más tiempo.
Sí.
Vale,
Bueno.
I'm sorry. Okay. Muy bien, no, lo siento porque...
No,
¿sí?
perdona, es que yo parece que me he
No,
tomado
pero muy
algo,
bien, lo has
¿sabes?
hecho súper
Vale,
bien.
gracias.
Sí, yeah. Please, can you stay here because now the panelists are going to give you their feedback. Te van a dar su feedback.
Yo ya me voy.
So now, obviously, we want to hear the opinions of the panelists. Does anyone have anything to say?
Yeah. Did her mother know? Did her mother know what had happened to her
¿Perdona?
sister?
Sorry?
Did her mother know what had happened to her sister about the abuse?
¿Está entendido? Sí. A ver, no quiero como decirlo exactamente, la madre intentaba hacer que no lo veía porque se descubrió, entre comillas, y se alzó un revuelo, o sea, la gente protegió al abusador, y esto ha sucedido en muchísimas ocasiones, que la gente tiene tanto miedo de aceptar la verdad que, bueno, que incluso las madres incluso han rodeado colegios haciendo protestas para decir que ese abusador no había abusado de sus hijos.
Wow. So she says that she doesn't really want to say if the mother knew or not or didn't know, but what she says is that what becomes clear in the project is that in the film is that there was some rumor about what was happening, but the mother may have chosen to look the other way to protect the abuser. And she says that in their investigation, this really happens in many cases, that they've seen cases in which mothers protest in front of the school to say that that hasn't happened in their school.
Is that because her mother had a relationship with this man?
¿Es porque la madre tenía algún tipo de relación con el abusador?
Él se gana a las madres realmente, o sea, este hombre pertenece al club, entonces sí se las ha ganado en cierto
The
modo.
abuser establishes a good relationship with the mothers. He works in the club where the girl who took her own life used to go and do swimming.
Can we ask how it ends?
Sí, puede preguntar cómo termina la película.
Tendrás que leer el guión.
You're gonna have to read the script. else has anything else to say?
Yeah, about the relationship then between, because I find that quite interesting actually, about the potential conflict between then the mother and the daughter, because I guess you've got that, okay, she's worried about, what happened to her sister and everything else. But to me, that seems like a really fascinating territory to actually move into that area of, as you said, if she doesn't know or if she does know what the relationship is with the potential abuser. That side to me of the story feels really interesting.
Dice que le parece muy interesante la relación que se establezca entre tu protagonista y la madre. ¿Sabía la madre? ¿No lo sabía?
Claro. Sí, ese es un tema que hemos tratado muchísimo porque realmente, Cloro es un thriller, pero va sobre todo de las relaciones, de las personas que se quedan después de una tragedia, de cómo se desarrollan esas relaciones y también de la superación. Lo que me ha faltado por decir es que no queremos hablar de justicia, de venganza, no decimos que la justicia termine en un juzgado o en la calle, sino dentro de una misma.
So Cloro, it is a thriller, but it's also, she says, it's about human relationships and about what happens after the abuse and what kind of relationship stays there. And she says that also they don't want to talk about big words like justice and vengeance. It's more about what happens.
Sí.
See? Ben, you wanted to say something?
That partly answers my question, in fact. I think, you said it's a thriller. The subject matter is incredibly delicate and something that some filmmakers try to avoid when they're marrying it with a thriller, because you can. I guess my question is, how much of the abuse plays a part in the thrill of the movie, or is it the aftermath? For example, how graphic is the look back at the abuse and the catalyst of the story?
¿Quieres saber qué parte, si es una parte importante o no, el abuso en sí de la película, o si es más de lo que pasó después? Y también quieres saber si es gráfico, es decir, si vamos a ver ese abuso o no.
Yo diría que es más bien tirando a un thriller judicial, en el sentido de que lo que más peso tiene, porque ella sí que lo va a descubrir lo que pasó en el pasado, pero ella va a luchar por dar voz, eso es lo más importante, y obviamente pues no vamos a ver los abusos. Sí que hay flashbacks al pasado, pero nos interesan más cómo esos personajes crecieron, cómo se desarrolló todo eso.
So we won't see the actual abuse. It's more, there will be some flashbacks to the past, but what they're interested on is what happened next. She says it's more like a legal court film in that sense. Anything else?
Well, I would like to congratulate you for the title. I think it's really powerful. And are you producing it already? When is it going to be released?
Nosotros en realidad estamos en fase de desarrollo.
Vale.
Sí. Tenemos bastante desarrollada la Biblia, tenemos el capítulo piloto y muchas ganas de trabajar.
So they're in development, still in development. They have the Bible already, and they've also scripted the pilot episode of it, and they obviously are eager to keep on working on it.
And to whom are you thinking to present it?
¿A quién estáis pensando en presentar esto?
Nos parece muy importante que Cloro tenga como una imagen muy moderna, no queremos que sea algo que tú lo veas y digas, y cojámoslo con pinzas, esto es como un producto español antiguo, ¿sabes? Queremos que lo haga gente, no nos importa con quién, pero sí que tenemos claro que tiene que estar una estética incluso a veces rozando el videoclip. En plan, que gusta a los jóvenes.
So they're not real, obviously they're interested in who they're going to sell it to, but what they really are worried about is that it looks modern, and they want like a kind of a video clip image, because they really want their audience, which would be young people, to look at it and think this is current, this is happening today. They don't want a sense of, like as she said, old production.
Just two more questions. One, what formats are you looking for a series? So how many episodes and what length? And the other question is, have you got any idea about directors that you'd like to work with?
¿Qué formato queréis? ¿Cuántos episodios? Y la segunda pregunta sería si tenéis alguna idea de qué director o directora os gustaría.
Pues el formato serían 12 episodios de unos 40-50 minutos, no queremos que dure más.
12 episodes within 40 to 50 minutes, not more than that.
Y ahí, bueno, voy a ser muy atrevida, o sea, a mí me gustaría mucho que lo dirigiera alguna persona de los que están en Canadá, o sea, en la productora Canadá, que hace los videoclips de Rosalía y todo eso, y me encantaría hacer una dupla y estar ahí también codirigiendo.
Okay, so she says she's going to be very brave and encouraged about this answer. She says that she would like this production company called Canada. This production company is responsible for Rosalia's video clips, for instance, and she says she would love to be co-directing with these people.
Okay. And what language? In Spanish?
Podríamos estudiar un cambio de ciudad.
y de idioma, pregunta el idioma.
Ah, vale. Pues en principio, si sucede en Madrid sería en castellano, si sucede en Barcelona sería en Barcelona. Nos importa,
en catalán.
En catalán, sí.
Sí.
Y nos importa mucho la vinculación con la ciudad. O sea, si lo cambiásemos de ciudad, tendríamos que estudiar mucho también lo que es el costumbrismo del sitio.
Okay. She says that they're not fuzzy about it. Like if it happens in Madrid, as they have it right now, it would be in Spanish. If it were to happen in Barcelona, it would be in Catalan. But what they really want is for the language to be, and the whole aspect of it to be linked to the day-to-day life in that city where it happens.
Sorry, one last question based on what Marina's just said. Marina, have you directed before?
Sí, yo tengo un cortometraje y bueno, estoy preparando otro corto. Le ha encantado, es mi fan.
She's got it.
Qué majo.
Yeah, she directed a short film that Pedro really likes, apparently.
because it's very good.
Yeah.
She's a very good.
Gracias.
And she's also working on another short film.
Sí.
But today you've just directed one short.
No, o sea, en la universidad dirigí más cosas, pero de lo que estoy más orgullosa, porque o sea, siempre es con muy poco dinero, el corto que dirigí eran 400 euros y las cámaras viejas de la universidad, entonces estoy buscando una oportunidad.
So she says that while she was at university, she directed other things, but she's mostly proud of this short film that they were talking about because it was done with very low budget, 400 euros, and they used the old cameras from the university.
Thank you.
My last question is just with, have you thought of any co-production potential? Like if you could choose another country or one more country to help you with the budget and development, what other countries might you consider for co-production?
Si hicierais una coproducción, ¿qué otro país, para que os ayude con la financiación,
Vale, sí.
qué otro país os gustaría coproducir con?
Pues nos podría interesar, por ejemplo, un Londres, un Praga, un sitio que nos pueda dar como ese estilo así como un poco oscuro que tiene Europa, también muy moderno.
So they would be interested in cities like London, so co-financing with the UK, for instance, or did you say Praga?
Sí, Praga, algo así como.
So they're thinking about old cities that have lots of personality and character.
Yeah, but besides the environment, it's a matter of money. I mean, you need a budget.
Ah, claro.
Claro, necesitas un presupuesto.
Sí.
You need to make it solid and strong.
Claro, que no es tanto en qué ciudad, sino, claro, para tener una buena financiación necesitáis pensar en una coproducción quizá con algún otro país.
Sí, pero lo que pasa es que normalmente, o sea, los flashbacks no tienen como, o sea, tienen peso, pero a lo mejor no serían muchas jornadas de trabajo en el país de fuera. O sea, lo que más tiene peso es donde se vaya a rodar.
They say that the budget shouldn't be that ambitious because the flashbacks are not that important in the project, in the series.
No hay tantos.
And it's set now.
It's set now, sí, ¿no? Pasa ahora, digamos.
Sí, en la actualidad, justo después de la pandemia. Sí.
Okay.
Anything else? No? Okay, well, Marina.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias a ti. Okay, so next up is Pedro del Tell. He's going to be presenting his project Berlineses.
Yo de pie.
¿Puedes ponerte un poquito de gel?
esto,
Sí, antes de
las
coger el
manos.
micro.
frivoli nada. Vale. Sí, well, maybe we can see a few seconds of our project first. Bueno, ponle fuerte.
Te va a encantar. Es nuestro medio. Que no dé match, por favor.
Ha encantado más. ¿Y eso qué es?
Has tenido una mala experiencia. Eso que te ahora hay que tener que tomar con preguntas.
Vamos a quedarnos espontáneos.
Venga.
Vale. Manuela, no te quedes así, me tienes de ánimo.
Venga, venga.
¿Seguro que lo tienes todo planeado?
Todo planeado.
Yo creo que tendrá súper útil para
Sí.
Tenemos coordenadas. Sí, no vamos a salir corriendo.
Stopwatch.
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 Esa a la abuela Cola le fliparía.
¿Qué le va a flipar a la buena cola? El edificio ese, si está todo roto, está hecho una mierda, hombre.
Well, this is Berlineses, and I'm going to put for me 3 minutes here because it's very short. If you put now the PowerPoint, I start at 3 minutes. No, this is not. Berlines es el de arriba del todo. Así funciona. My first PowerPoint. Well, Berlineses means in Spanish Berliners, and it's about Spanish people and Spanish speakers in Berlin. You can go to the next one. It's an improv film web series in the form of a costume-based romantic comedy in socio-political undertones. And these are my co-directors, and they are acting in the movies too. Let's go to the next one. What is this about? It's about Spanish immigrants and their relationships with other migrant communities and with the German community, because in Berlin there are Germans too. And it's about their problems as immigrants, but it's about two crises. The migrant crisis, because of the economical crisis, but another very important thing is the crisis of the romantic love in the age of Tinder. They have big problems with that. And then what it's about one more time is everyday stories, problems of relationships, adaptation, loneliness, isolation when living in a foreign country. Films about love and friendship, about cold and culture shock, about escape and reunion. They tell the daily and tragicomic reality of us, of Berlin's immigrants. And how we do it? Well, our process is like this. We choose a theme, in this case we spoke about that, a community and a socio-political framework. And then we make a reverse casting. Because we are somewhere, we cannot look for every actor, we have only a little community. Then we make a study of that community, of the actors that we have. We interview them and we take the stories from this research and we work for them. We create stories and characters based on our actors and our community. And yes, afterwards we structure these stories into scenes and we shoot these scenes.
Pedro, I'm sorry, but the 3 minutes are gone.
Oh yes, oh sorry.
Yes.
I was too slow.
I know, just to be fair to everyone else, so we can hear everyone's project. But just remember, you all will have time to keep on talking about it later on, you know. So
Yeah.
maybe, but
with a beer.
yeah, which will be much nicer probably than here.
Let's see.
So if the panelists, if anyone wants to say anything,
Maybe I
so
sit.
yeah, you can sit here.
You can ask about what I say.
Yeah.
Can I ask to see the rest of the slides?
This one?
Yeah. Yeah. What's on slide 5?
Tell the rest of the story.
3 minutes is
short.
too short.
Yeah. But you know, it serves a really strong purpose to be able to summarise your idea in 3 minutes or even less, because there's always time for further questions, and I guess the exercise is within 3 minutes you can easily get across your theme and your elevator pitch really, which you started. I think it's really strong. It's just a shame we didn't get to the end.
Well, it's more or less the same one more time, a bit deeper in the story. But this is what we do. We improve.
Can I ask what stage you're at? Because I mean, presumably,
Yeah.
if it's improv, you sort of have a vision, an idea for an episode, a theme maybe that you give to a group of people, and then you just see how it plays out. Is that right?
I didn't understand the word.
Oh,
No.
okay.
What's the question? One more time.
If you have an episode
Yes.
and you have this group of people,
Yes.
do you give them like a theme or an end point, and then you have to improvise?
Sometimes.
Together, or how does it
We work with them. Well, first of all, I have to meet them and know what can they do, because these kind of actors cannot be everything. And then I look for stories that I know, and I put them in the right place, the right character that I know that they can do. For example, okay, he's from Valencia, I know Valencia, I know he has a very macho cousin in Valencia, and I think he can do this macho role. And then I build a story around that, and I present that to him, and then he do this character, and then we know more or less which scenes are we going to film. And sometimes we have an ending, sometimes they change the end. And
The actors change.
yes, and if it's better, then we don't repeat it. Sometimes it's better, yeah.
Is it Pedro?
Yes.
So I may have missed it in your pitch. Thank you. What's your overriding theme of this? You touched on immigration, and I guess to combine with that question, what experience do you personally have with that theme, if anything?
Well, it's what I was living the last 19 years. I don't know. It's about. It's trying to show to Germany what are we and what are we doing in this country, and trying to go back to our countries with that stories and tell them this is our reality. Because all the things that I saw about living in Berlin or something, it was something that it was very, very far away from our reality.
Was it a good experience for you overall living in Berlin?
Yes, good and bad. It's tough to be a foreigner everywhere. Yeah.
So I get the sense, obviously there's comedic value to it, yes? I mean, it's meant to be kind of funny.
Funny or fun?
Oh, yes,
Funny.
funny.
It's meant to be funny. It's a tragic comedy.
Yeah. Okay. And which I like. I mean, I got the the tone and the feel of it, and it feels very true, down to earth. They're not like, I don't mean they're not supermodel people, if you know what I mean. Like you're looking at it.
This
from
is
a very
something that we are looking for. That they are normal people.
Yeah, exactly. That they are people
This
who
is
can relate to, yes. Which I
something
really like about it,
moral.
because
Yeah, I like this kind of films with normal people, not with Brad Pitts.
Yeah. So, for your format is what's your ideal format? It's the question, like how many episodes, how long is each episode, and where do you see it? Is it web? Is it web and television at the same time?
Yeah.
What's the
I think it's, I see it everywhere. Now in this format, it's a web series, it's like 10 to
15 minutes, but now we're presenting the same process to the Mallorcan TV, and it's a short stories feature film. It's like La Ronde. I don't know if you know the film from the 50s from Ophuls. It's a film about the society of Wien 200 years ago, and then we want to make this with the society of the Balearic Islands, and there are always stories before or after sex, always in couples, and you make a round. You have the 1 and the 2, the 2 and the 3, the 3 and the 4, and the 8th is coming back and fucking with the first. And then you have the whole community of these islands in this kind of little improv scenes. I think we can use it for everything. We can do it shorter and very cheap for the internet, like 2 to 5 to 7 minutes. We can do till 20 minutes with different scenes. Till now there are only short films. They don't continue from one episode to the other. It's always something different, but it is because of the production, because it's very difficult to have always 3 months after the same characters with the same haircut and these kind of things. We do what we can with nothing.
If I can answer the one other question, do you have experience of what you call reverse casting?
What do you mean with experience?
Have you done it before? Like when
I've done it here. We have 12 films.
Right, nice. You've got 12
You've made them?
Yes, we have eight pilots already from Berlineses, and 4 pilots for another series called Aislados, Isolated, from Mallorca, with the isolation as a theme, and the problems of tourism and not having work and the crisis. We take the problems of the place and we go there and we make improv movies about that.
So you've already self-produced the 12 in total, correct?
Exactly.
And now you're looking to sell those 12 to someone, or you're looking to put them out there?
Well, I'm looking to sell the last 4 of Berlineses that nobody saw.
Okay.
And I'm looking for someone who wants to produce more, because making films is what is funny, not selling them.
Okay, I'm sorry, but the time has run out, so we're gonna have to.
One more time.
Sorry. Buen trabajo, Pedro. So, next up is Giovanni Labadesa. He is here to present Dies Irae.
All right. How you doing, guys?
How are you?
That's my face. I have the tendency to talk a lot, so I'm gonna put some time just to give myself some guidance. So hi, my name is Giovanni Labadesa. I'm a writer-producer. I'm from Italy, but I live in Los Angeles. It's been like for the past 16 years. What I'm pitching today is a horror film set in World War II. The title is Dies Irae, which is the title of an ancient book that was said to be written by the devil himself and handed to Emperor Nero. And that's what kind of made him crazy and wanted to seek power and burn the city down. And so it's the story is about those, we're in the middle of World War II and in somewhere in a forest, and we see those people running away from bombers approaching. But that's not where the story starts. The story starts a few hours before when those people meet. Those 2 soldiers are in prison for treason, and the third man is the camp priest, who is actually going there to give them the last rites. The reason why they're in prison is because they were trying to trade an ancient book with the German spy. And the priest, who is the only person who speaks Latin in the group, is handed the book to kind of figure out what it is. What those two men tell the priest immediately is that we are about to be burned to the ground. So what happens in war is that usually older military people, they don't care about that. They care about the glory. So they will rather fight and die than run away. So Edward, which is a high rank guy, can spot a coward immediately, and that's our priest. So they decided to run away and take the book to the only people who would actually use it to end the war, which are the Germans. The story we're telling is a story about good and evil, and when we are in the middle of the forest, they meet this young woman, a local, living by herself in the middle of the forest, and the priest forced her to be the guide out of those forests and closer to the German front. The movie is inspired by 1917 and The Witch. I had the opportunity to work with this incredible writer called Lorenzo Colonna. He was finalist at the Page and Big Wave and Austin Film Festival. And we wanted to do a movie about a movie with no heroes. And that was kind of the idea, to experiment. It's the first time I was writing a horror. I wrote another one afterwards, and I have a lot of fun with it. So I think it's a genre that just kicks ass. How you translate kicks ass in Spanish?
Kicks ass.
My time is up, I know.
Okay, that was very good.
I told you nothing about the story, pretty much. I just set it up. But I don't know. I hope you got the mood of what this is all about.
Yeah, I mean it's a solid pitch. I think you led. I've got a lot of questions, but so the good and evil theme. How you said it has no heroes in it, which is vitally important in a theme like that as well. Because I guess you're approaching the fact. In fact, we had a discussion over dinner last night with one of the filmmakers about just that theme and how important it is to the human condition. Because it's something within all of us, and we quite quickly villainize one another or play the victim, when in fact we're a bit of everything. So is there a particular, how are you using this, the book is The Day of the Wrath in English, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Dies Irae is the Day of the Wrath.
And the 13th century book or scripture, how are you, it's very clever to put it against the Second World War, I've got a lot of questions. How are you putting that into a modern context, taking the themes, the fundamental themes and keeping them in a modern context that we can digest now?
Yeah, so in terms of the big inspiration is The Witch, because the woman who is actually forced by a priest. They're hungry, they're lost, they know they have little time to get out of this forest and get to the German. He's forced to guide them. And the priest, which is the only person up to that point who shows a little bit of good morals, and it's actually the worst of the three. And that's what we play with throughout the whole film, who's the worst human being that we have among the three? And we keep reversing and flipping those roles throughout the whole movie. And so you keep challenging yourself into understanding those characters. We describe, the three main characters are Edward, Russell, and Adam. Adam is the priest, and the young girl. Russell is in prison because he got into a fight and killed a man for a bottle of rum. And that's it. That's his story. And the other guy is a high rank who is in prison because he never thought that they were going to send him to the front. He comes from a wealthy family. They gave him a high rank, right? He thought he was going to stay in England and just be there. and like, or command from somewhere else. He didn't want to be at the front. And the beauty of war is that, in all honesty, the people who die are the only people who have done nothing wrong. Like, you know, they're there because somebody else sent there. And the priest, the only reason why he's a priest, it's because he was hoping that by becoming a priest, they wouldn't send him to the front. So it's the story of all those people who are like just there, you know, and Russell he's just like one of those horrible human beings who make sense only in a time of war. You know, the people who are celebrated only because, you know, like I killed so many men, and like, you know,
I
like...
think that's answered the question, which is, as you say, we see and we dramatise and romanticise back even when we look at Goebbels and so on. These people that you imagine, how on earth could they exist now? But they flourish at times of war, and I think that's answered the question as to why you use war as a backdrop.
And the most beautiful character is actually the young woman, to me. And you find out at the very end that she's the devil himself. The devil can't ask you to do anything, can't force you to do anything, but he has to guide you to do bad. Mm-hmm. And the ultimate thing, it's exactly that, you know, like, it's like the temptation of Christ, you know, and that's the movie that I thought, like, okay, if I have to put it into one movie.
It's a very big thing to try to get
compress.
Into one, and I think is the girl, this girl that at the end turns out to be the devil, is she painted as the anti-hero, or is she an antagonist?
She's actually the only one that tries to tell them that they're doing something awful.
Right.
So you don't expect her to be an evil being at all until when she reveals herself at the very end, you know. In The Witch, you don't expect her to be a witch until she flies, you know. And that's the same idea of, like, you know, breaking that character of, like, why a woman in a time of mystery, you know, like, or back in the days, or like in all those movies, you know. She's the witch just because maybe, you know, she's more beautiful than others, or because she had red hair or something like that, you know what I mean? And like, sorry.
I just wanted to ask you, because I used to work for a horror film production company for many years called Hammer Films, and one of the things, we used to see a lot of projects that are set up in a very isolated, remote place where you can have, I mean, it's a perfect setting for a horror film. But what's scary? What scares us?
So
What are your moments?
the reason why it's scary, what we did is, like, what we specialize on. I've done feature films, and I developed feature films for a small production company in US. And it's the first time we're approaching the genre of horror film. We need something that is contained in terms of budget for us to be able to make it. And what's scary to me in the film, it's actually human nature. You expect nature to be the scary element of film, you know, like a leaf, you know, like a shake, and all of a sudden, you know, there is like something that is, you know, but what's scary to us is actually how the humans in this movie keep turning into, like, worse and worse and worse and worse, like, you know, until, like...
Can you give me one example of something?
So, I'll give you, so there is an eerie atmosphere throughout the whole film. And this, the reason why they stop is because they walk into a landmine and one of them gets hurt. And so the one that gets hurt is the leader of the group. And I know I will be out of time, so sorry. It's the leader of the group, and he doesn't tell people that he's healing when the girl is there. And so the fact that she has, like, good in herself and the other people are still taking advantage of the situation, it's like a constant presence of, like, you know, like how bad those people can be. Like when there is a fight, or, like, you know, is the guy gonna rape her? Is the priest gonna rape her? Is like all those elements are always there, you know? Like, so I think the creepy part is the evil that is constantly kind of lurking in to the story. So if you ask me one thing, I don't know how to answer that question. But yes.
Okay.
So the answer was no. I don't know.
This is a quick reference point, so maybe you're familiar with it anyway. Your tone, your colour palette, and maybe the setting as well. You were saying it's a great forest. There's the come and see, which is
I love Come and See.
Yeah, I think that as a touch point is a really interesting place to start from and develop, because it is about it's horror, it's war, My other question is a really boring one, but where are you with this in development? You've got first draft.
So Come and See, it was one of the reference actually. Come and See is an old movie. It has the same element. The human nature is the thing that scares you the most in that film, in all honesty. Where we are, I was very surprised because this is a first draft. I have had other films who are much further out in development. This was a first draft, and it was kind of like an opportunity for me to work with that writer that I really wanted to work with. So it's very early on, in all honesty. I'll be straightforward with you. Like, we know where it lands in terms of budget. We know the atmosphere. We kind of know that because, I don't know, that's how he's very experienced. I have some experience, I guess. So we know where this film lives, but it's still early on in development. So we need your help.
We have to end it here. Right. Thank you very much for your pitch. So next up is Sophie von Redden. I hope I'm saying your name correct. And she's here to present the sketchbook. Are you going to be standing up or sitting down? Okay.
Okay. Hi, I'm Sophie, and I come up with a love comedy, and which is for a mini-series, maybe for 6 episodes. And I'm from the generation where my parents actually lived in a divided Germany, in East and West Germany, so it was a little bit what I lived in my experience, the consequences of this generation when my parents were 16, maybe, teenagers, so they just lived the consequences of being disowned. My mother's part, and my father was in the west part, and so this is a little bit the story about. And the sketchbook is a art book which got lost or disowned by the Russians in the east part, and so my female character, main character, she lives in West Berlin. She's an art student, and she is investigating where this can be. And in the 80s, where I have grown up in the beautiful 80s, the Berlin Wall fell, and my main character, she wants to go to the east, and the masculine character comes from the east part and goes to the west, and so they have a crash, which was a little bit my inspiration from Crash Landing on You, which is a Korean, very beautiful series, where the guy comes from North Korea and she from South Korea, and I loved this. This was really the last point which gave me the inspiration to write this story of 2 persons. And also the images, the girl is from a noble house which was disowned in the East, and he is a communist, but his father was British, and he sent him always British literature, and so he's very West orientated. So there's a little bit 2, worlds which comes together. And actually, it starts here in Mallorca in 2019, when they meet after 30 years in the modern world, in the adulthoods, and then we go back to the origin and show a little bit where they come from.
Okay.
It's a story of hope and unification.
Tiene 30 segundos.
You've got 30 seconds left if you want to say
Oh,
anything
no,
else.
it's okay. I have to breathe.
Okay, very good. So,
I'm sorry. Just at the very, did you say it was a comedy, or did I mishear that?
Well, no, it's actually a love drama. You
I
can
know, sorry.
yes, so. But it's also funny. Yes, because both have a lot of humor, and which is important for me also. Even in a drama, always a kind of humor.
Okay. And it's a series. Did you?
Yes, a mini-series. I think it's
How many episodes?
6.
6. Okay.
Which is in a draft. You can modify it like you want. You can make it longer. You can, yes. Any questions?
What's the name of it?
The sketchbook.
The sketchbook.
Yes, because the sketchbook is actually the show. My female character wants to get it because she's an art student and she knows this got lost in her family in the East by the Russians. And so when she studies art, the art student actually was unknown, but now he's a kind of Banksy, what concerns the money, so she wants it. And Richard from the East got it because he lived in the little village where her family was disowned. So this is casualties, so that they come, they have a one-night stand, but they don't speak about the sketchbook. So they get separated again, and they have their own path, and the sketchbook is it's an important issue because her great-great-aunt was painted 100 years ago in her age. So she's an exact copy of which is the drawing in the sketchbook. And when she has a crush on him in the Berlin Wall, the day in the Brandenburg Gate reopens, she just crushed from the wall into his arms in the east part, and he's like, whoops, this is the drawing I keep many years, and he's in love with this woman. And so this is actually the point where it starts, the love story, because of this sketchbook, yeah.
Okay.
Which will be found one day in Mallorca. And the first episode starts here on a Russian yacht, super yacht. And of course, my female character thinks the Russian kept it, but it was not like this. Her mother gave it to the mother of Richard, just keep it, that it won't go lost. So it's a little bit of confusing the audience, you know, and I hope I didn't confuse you.
anyone else has anything else to say about it?
What would you say are your references in terms of other series that are similar?
Like I said, I don't know if you know the Korean Crash Landing on You, which is North Korea, South Korea, you know, and the difference about communist guy, and she rich and she has everything. He's the other way around. The funny thing is that the guy from the east part, his father was a British spy. He lives in London, and he's a wealthy lord and rich, but he doesn't know this because he got always the parcels from Mr. Arthur. And when the Berlin Wall falls, he goes to London, it search for Mr. Arthur, and then it results it's Lord Arthur with a lot of money. So his life from a humble chicken farm in the east comes to be a lord, and the girl who came from a noble house with a big castle, she has nothing, she's penniless, but she likes my female character likes all the boyish things like motorbike or martial arts. She loves taekwondo, and she beats also up the bodyguards of later on in the series, you know, and she's a tough girl. And so there are two worlds actually. Sorry. They're coming. Oh my God! I'm too long. I'm too tall. Sorry. So there are two worlds coming together, you know. And for me, it's a little bit taking the labels of when a guy comes from the East. He must not be exactly what the people expect from the East. They had a horrible image when they invade West Germany. And so it's the same with the girl. She comes from a noble house, and she is very human, very down to earth, very normal. So this was for me very important also.
And you said you've got, it's 6, you see them as 6, yes?
Yes.
Where are you with them now?
No, I wrote my first episode, so it's finished in my
Okay.
head, it's in
I
the draft.
so
Yes, but
you already know where it's going. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
And you're writing it. You're
Yes,
co-writing it.
yes, I would love to write it and maybe co-write it if somebody. Yes, but I write it. Yes.
And with whom are you thinking of? You based here or Mallorca or?
I'm based in Mallorca, Madrid. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and the main set is Mallorca actually, and okay, you go back to the end of the 80s to Berlin. So these are the two main sets, and maybe a little bit in London because of the father when Richard comes to see his father and lives in London. So, but it is not.
Victor, do you have anything to say about it?
And do you have someone in mind to produce it?
No, it's all up to you.
Writing it?
You are all invited to produce, so go ahead. I think it's another generation like what I heard before, totally, because I think double so old than these guys were here. So I'm the consequence of the post-war in Germany. You know, I lived this experience, and this is what I put in there. With the experience here living in Mallorca, I want to present also like Sandra said, the island from another point of view, and from its very important bridging cultures. Because here in Mallorca, Anma, which is my female character, gets to know the Russian. She has always, of course, this image they took all away from us for the consequences of the Germans, what we did before, of course, or the British spy, he came to London. So this is a little bit that our generation has to clean a little bit the labels of who's bad, who's whatever, you know. So this is my story.
Have you written anything before in terms
No.
of TV?
No, TV no. It's no. I'm actually I'm not from the film industry. I'm from the real estate industry because I lived here always doing real estate. But I always like to paint and to write, and I write it like a novel years ago. And when I was confined in Madrid, so I just changed the way because I did a Netflix marathon when I was really in a hard lockdown, and I said I have to do something else, and I wrote this.
Okay. Well, I'm afraid the time has run out. Thank you so much, Sophie. So we have 2 more projects left. The next one is going to be Gabi Fornes. He's here to present Ashes of a New Beginning. And Gabi will be doing his presentation in Spanish, so I will be doing the translation.
Bueno, he traído las chuletas porque me da pánico. Los exámenes orales siempre los suspendía.
He's got some help because he says that oral test he always used to fail, so he's been prepared with that.
Pues vamos a ver un tráiler que hemos hecho sobre este proyecto de serie de televisión y espero que os guste.
We're going to watch a trailer first.
Can you feel that energy? Fear, doubt. You have to let it all go.
Ahí está. Dan ganas un poco de levantarse y pegar 4 espadazos. Siempre me ha gustado de niño jugar con espadas.
He always used to like to play with swords as a child.
Y bien, soy Gabriel Fornés, guionista y cineasta, y tengo el placer de estar haciendo equipo junto con Julián Soria y Daniel Fernández. Ellos son desarrolladores de videojuego, llevan más de 20 años haciendo videojuegos aquí en Mallorca. Y
Okay, so his name is Gabi Fornés. He's a scriptwriter and filmmaker, and he's here together with his 2 partners, Julián Soria y Daniel Fernández. They are video game developers, and they've been developing games for more than 20 years here in Mallorca.
Y bien, estoy aquí para presentaros Ashes of a New Beginning. Evidentemente es un producto de género, es ciencia ficción y una serie de 6 episodios.
So he's here to present Ashes of a New Beginning. It is a science fiction product, and it's a series conceived to be 6 episodes.
Lo que hemos hecho es fusionar el mundo de los videojuegos con el mundo del cine, y la verdad es que en este proceso de experimentación estamos disfrutando muchísimo porque parece que no, pero se complementa muy bien los 2 sectores, y sobre todo yo estoy aprendiendo mucho sobre cómo en el mundo del videojuego es muy importante el feedback y el target antes de empezar a trabajar.
So they've combined the video game world together with the film world, and he says this experience is being very interesting, and he's finding out how important it is to know your target when you're in development.
Tenemos ya terminado el guión del episodio piloto y también estamos con las tramas principales, pero siempre dejamos una puerta abierta un poco a que los fans puedan hacernos sugerencias para la próxima temporada.
So they've already finished the first script for the pilot, and they already have lined up the main plots, but they always leave something to be changed if their fans want to make any suggestions.
Ashes of a New Beginning se sitúa en un planeta desolado, ambientado en un futuro lejano donde el uso de la tecnología está totalmente prohibido.
Ashes of a New Beginning is set on a desolated planet, on a faraway future where the use of new technologies is banned.
Durante el proceso de gestación del guión y también de la producción de este tráiler, nos ha sorprendido porque ya hay una comunidad de seguidores de la ciencia ficción de aquí de la isla que nos están espiando, nos están siguiendo, e incluso han venido al rodaje y nos han hecho unas fotos que luego hemos visto publicadas por ahí sin avisarnos. O sea que ya estamos creando como una especie de expectativa sin nosotros pretenderlo.
So during the time of development of the script and also the filming, they're realizing that they already are creating some expectations, that they've realized that some science fiction fans here on the island have been spying on their filmmaking and taking some pictures that they had no idea that they were being taken. So they think that this idea is already creating some good feedback and expectation about it.
Y estamos encantados de poder presentaros el proyecto e invitaros a uniros a desarrollarlo y a poder presentarlo lo antes posible a los fans.
¿A quién?
Al público.
Al público, vale. So they're delighted to be here and present their project to you, and they hope that you may want to join their project so they can develop it and present it as soon as they can to their fans. Yeah. So that's it. So any feedback?
Have they already developed a game to go with this?
Sí, evidentemente fue una de las primeras propuestas pero mis socios están ya desarrollando videojuegos y tienen, digamos, que un calendario muy apretado. Entonces vamos a esperar a ver un poco cuál es la financiación para poder desarrollar un videojuego.
So it was their first idea to develop the video game, but his partners are very busy with other projects right now, so they're going to have to wait a little bit to see how everything develops, and then obviously they're going to concentrate on the video game too.
En términos de ventanas de exhibición, ¿en qué estáis pensando?
So in terms, Victor's question is in terms of window exhibitions, what's their idea about it?
A ver, mi ilusión como cineasta, yo hace años que visito el Festival de Cannes y ya he presentado alguno de mis cortometrajes, es poder presentarlo allí, evidentemente, y que tenga un recorrido en salas. Lo que es el episodio piloto. Lo que es el episodio piloto. Lo que pasa es que cuando se produce una serie de televisión hoy en día no se hace esto. Ha habido películas como Mulholland Drive, que es una maravilla, pero que es súper experimental, de David Lynch, que sucedió esto, pero fue porque finalmente no se desarrolló la serie y pues se hizo unas escenas añadidas para poder presentar un largometraje independiente, ¿no? A mí, evidentemente, me gustaría que esto pudiera circular en salas, pero somos conscientes de que tenemos que estar en todos los soportes, en todas las pantallas, y, evidentemente, pues plataformas como Netflix o HBO pues son un target dentro de nuestros objetivos.
So their main goal would be to present the pilot in Cannes. He says that as a filmmaker, he's been going to Cannes for many years now. He presented a short film there, and then he would like to screen their first episode on the big screen. He says that this is not something that normally people do with series. He says that Mulholland Drive apparently was set to be a series, and then the series never happened, and they ended up doing just the film. But he says that their idea is to have this series screened in every different screening and platforms like Netflix and HBO.
So what is, two questions. First of all, is there a reason why you've set this over an episode format rather than a feature film? And second of all, what's the conflict and where does the arc go and how will that work over 6 episodes?
So, quiere saber dos preguntas. La primera, ¿por qué decidisteis hacerlo en formato de serie y no de película? Y la segunda, ¿cuál es el arco narrativo? ¿Cuál es el conflicto?
Sí, esto es interesante porque la primera intención fue hacer un largometraje, porque no hemos desarrollado nunca una serie de televisión, es algo muy complejo. Y lo que sucedió es que escribiendo Ashes of a New Beginning me di cuenta de que daba para una serie, es decir, que habría muchos caminos y los personajes se iban multiplicando y digamos que una cosa llevó a la otra.
So, yes, he says that their first idea was to make a feature film, but then as they were writing, they realized that this could be a series because many characters kept on popping up, so that's why they decided to do a series.
Y la otra pregunta.
La segunda pregunta era
sí. The conflicto. El arco del protagonista es que es un chico de 19 años que tiene que, digamos, proteger a su padre porque es un científico que sabe cómo puede luchar contra el mal. Digamos que se puede encuadrar el guión dentro de lo que es el género green punk. El género green punk es una especie de cyberpunk. Lo que pasa es que digamos que el contenido ecologista está bastante presente. Lo que pasa es que yo lo que he hecho ha sido desarrollar el guión no para dar un mensaje ecologista, sino para jugar un poco con la ambivalencia que hay entre nuestra necesidad de usar tecnología, lo que nos gusta la tecnología, y también cómo eso puede perjudicar al medio ambiente, ¿no? Pero es algo que está muy abajo dentro del guión. No es la intención hacer una película ecologista, ¿sí? digamos que hay algunas referencias de este tipo de película, sobre todo en el cine de animación japonés.
Okay, so I'll try to, I'll do my best. So the protagonist is a 19-year-old boy. He has to protect his father, who is a scientist and who's fighting against the evil. ¿No? Está luchando contra el mal el padre, ¿no?
Sí.
Yeah. And he says it would be kind of green punk, which is something like cyberpunk, but with a green message, an ecologist message. He says they're not trying to do an ecologist movie, a green movie, but it is something that is laying underneath the fact that you can see how new technology can be working against the environment. ¿Lo he dicho bien?
Perfecto. Vale. Muchas gracias.
Gracias. Anything else? Anyone else wants to ask something?
Any questions about the
title, Ashes of the Beginning. So this, and I may have missed it, the sizzle's really nice. But I guess what I'm still trying to understand is this human beings that terraform a new planet and they're then in a battle with machines, or what's this thing at the end?
Sí, que quiere saber Ashes of a New Beginning, qué significa exactamente, que en el videoclip hemos visto y parece ser que es como si hubiera una lucha entre las nuevas tecnologías y el ser humano, ¿es así?
Sí, correcto. Digamos que, esto es un poco secreto, pero bueno, voy a adelantarlo. Digamos que aquí el mal está representado por una entidad alien que es pasiva, no es agresiva, hasta que la comunidad científica la descubre y la manipula. Y entonces ahí es cuando esta entidad alien reacciona y ataca, digamos que se defiende. Entonces hay una época de sometimiento del ser humano por esta entidad. Y digamos que el título hace remisión a resurgir de las cenizas, o sea que la humanidad vuelve a tener una oportunidad para tener libertad, digamos.
So he says this is a bit secret, but he's gonna tell you anyway. So yes, the evil in the movie is represented by an alien entity. Which is an alien entity that is passive, not aggressive, until the scientific community discovers this alien entity and awakens it. And that's when it becomes aggressive. So the title refers to, yes, the humanity having a new opportunity, a second chance after, being, I guess, put down. And so it's an awakening from the ashes.
Just two quick questions. One, it's English language, yes?
Yes, of course.
Two, where would you ideally like to shoot it?
Well, now ahora estamos preparando localizaciones en Mallorca y en Islas Canarias para el episodio piloto. Luego, si se desarrolla la serie, sería norte de África, sobre todo. Y continuar también con Canarias y Mallorca.
So right now they're doing some scouting locations in Mallorca and the Canary Islands. If it got to development, this series, they would like to shoot also in the north of Africa, together with Mallorca and the Canary Islands.
And you said at the beginning you've learned a lot about your target audience, which is just fans of this type of genre or beyond?
No, nos gustaría que fuese lo más amplio posible. Ojalá tuviésemos el éxito que ha tenido el Juego del Calamar, por ejemplo, Juego de Tronos, etcétera, etcétera. Desde luego, estamos barajando muchas referencias, desde Star Wars hasta juegos como Zelda. Quiero decir que tiene bastante potencial.
So they would have a wide audience, not just video game fans. And they're looking up to Game of Thrones, for instance. They would like to achieve their success in reaching a wide audience, and their references are also
Star Wars.
Games like Zelda and Star Wars.
Pero con una entidad propia, no somos una copia de Star Wars.
Obviously, they're not a copy of those, but they want to have their own personality. Anything else?
It's not. Is it based on anything other than the video game? Is it inspired by a comic, a graphic novel, a book, or anything like that?
El guión es mío, pero lo que pasa es que lo he gestionado con mis socios. Ellos son grandes cinéfilos. Entonces, ellos me han pasado muchísimas referencias de videojuegos y también de películas. Y hay mucha influencia asiática, hay mucha referencia a animación japonesa, por ejemplo.
So its script is original. He's written it together with the help of his two partners who have given him lots of different references from video games and also Asian films. And he says Asian film making is a big influence in this project.
Bueno, definitivamente en nuestra generación ha influenciado mucho el cine de animación japonés.
Perdona, ¿qué has dicho?
En nuestra generación tiene mucha influencia.
He says that in our generation, the Asian animation is got a very big influence in us. ¿Ya está? Okay, that's it.
Gracias.
Thank you. And so we're going to end up with Marcos Callejo, and his project is Nana. Marcos, ¿tú lo vas a hacer en inglés o en castellano?
O sea, I'll try to do it in English, but...
Okay, I can help you.
Just in case.
Okay. Do you want to stand up or
I
be
think
sitting
I'll
down?
stand up because I need to watch the...
Perfect. Then can you please clean your hands and then take the microphone?
Okay, first, sorry for the delay. I come from Madrid and the flight was a bit late. Yeah? Hello. Okay, may we go to the first slide?
Para arriba.
Yeah.
La primera.
Okay. Okay, so this is Nana, is a feature film. Oh my god. Okay. It's a feature film. I am Marcos Callejo, a filmmaker from Mallorca. This would not be my first feature film because I made lots of short films and feature films with Marina here. But all of them were locals, so this is my first feature film with high budget. Okay, we can go to the next. Okay, so this is a tagline: collect your pieces to create something new. 4 years ago, I had like a really bad experience with love. I was with my boyfriend, but suddenly another person came, and he broke everything from my life. So everything's okay nowadays. I'm happy now. Okay. The film is sad, but the ending is very good. Okay? Okay, so that's why I'm here now. So the script was like a catharsis for me. It was a way to get it out, to watch it from a distance and see what happened there. Why did it happen to me? And this is a story that was born from that experience and also from other things from my life. Okay. So Martin, a young painter, has been frustrated with his new painting for years. Hence, everybody can read, but I'm going to read it, so read brief. Thanks to his grandmother, who taught him to paint, he started taking painting classes. However, the first day he meets Hugo, a colleague who completely captivates him and awakens his inspiration again. We can go to the next. So Martin, who is the main character, has a girlfriend, and suddenly that person comes and starts changing everything on his life. He has been a painter since he was 5 years old, but suddenly, like, you become an adult, you start caring about other things, and suddenly you realize that what you really want to do is in his case paints, in mine was making films, but this is another story. So he wants to plant another seed to keep growing in that sense, in the art sense. So when he does, everything changes suddenly. So the story is based here in Mallorca. So we have Catalan and Spanish both together. That's what I love because it's my reality. I speak Catalan and Spanish with my family, and most of the people here in Mallorca do so. Also, of course, LGBT thing is here. It's not the main thing, that's what I like, because for me, all the LGBT films are like, it's the main thing, it's the main genre on the film, but this is like something that is on the film, of course, it's very important, but it's not the key point on the film. And I think that's where we can all relate to. It's creative process and also art, how we understand art, where do we create from, and the most important thing, everybody has a family, maybe blood or no blood, but the movie talks also about the family and how it makes us grow in a certain way. The main references for the film are Call Me By Your Name, in the sense of the idealization, LGBT, the naturality. I want to reach that kind of naive sense. I mean, when you watch the film, it looks like the first take in every shot. It looks like it's like a stolen shot.
I'm sorry, Marcos.
Okay, sorry.
We ran out of
to
time.
be quick. Also, Dolor y Gloria because of the catharsis, and Kill the Cantera in the sense of filming and rhythm.
So thank you so much for your presentation. So who wants to go next?
Where it's set here in Mallorca?
It's set here, yeah.
Sorry, I've got a few questions. Call Me By Your Name is one of my favourite films. I think it's so beautiful. I love the way it's pitched. You'd be directing and writing?
Yeah,
right?
I forgot that part. Yeah, yeah. So it's it's already written. So it's third version now of the script, and I would also love to direct it.
And you said you directed things before?
Yeah. So all of them, Marina went, but we started together at school. We were like 16 or 17, and we made like very low budget short films, and we did some feature films also, but very, very low budget. And we premiered here in Evolution, also in Atlanta. I mean, lots of festivals here. But we have never had like a high budget for this film. It's more or less like $800,000 or up to $1 million, more or less.
And do you have cast in mind as well for this?
Oh, what?
Cast.
Yeah. Cost for the film, you mean?
Cast.
Sorry, cast. Not really. I would love to have a Catalan actor, which is in Berlin, Merlin, the series. But no, I don't. I mean, I have also one actress for one of the characters, which is Sara Escudero, which is an actress here from Spain. But the rest of the cast is now open. Now I'm focusing on writing and presenting the story and the project in a creative way, and not so much as a project right now. But I'm working on it.
Thank you for coming from Madrid.
Thank you.
And being, I really like it's a nice picture, very human, and I think your ability to tell a story that's clearly very personal, but also find a different, light way of, okay, you make films, you make art. That's really nice. But I found the most fascinating things when you start to touch upon those things of, yes, it's got LGBTQI stuff in there, but that stuff about the family, which you said the roles that we all assume are given within family, yes, whether they're, say, blood ones or not, that I think has got huge potential, because I think that's something really universal. And I think that could be the key to something here where it's got some longevity, where it is actually okay, because it's very difficult not to relate to that, even if you don't like your family.
That's the key point. Yeah.
You are still given the role.
Yeah.
I just think that's a nice. I think it's a nice touch of your pitch to bring the story, should I say, to bring that.
It's the. Thanks so much. Indeed, the ending of the film is about that. It's only about why did that happen to me? And I swear I realized what happened to me because I wrote the script, and what happened to the character, it got solved in the script, and suddenly I realized that it happened to me. What I planned as a solution for the character, it was for me, and it's all about the family, all about the past, all what you think. I mean, the things you've grown with, they make you think in some way, that you grow in some way, but suddenly the world is different and other people are different. So yeah, it's very personal what happened, so someday I will tell you, but yeah, it's there. I mean, the key point is the family at the end of the film.
What's the age of the characters?
It's 25, and I'm 25 now, but I started writing when I was 22. So it's been...
The two characters.
Los personajes con qué edad tienen?
Yeah, so it's 25.
Both
Just,
of them the same age?
one is 25 and the other is 28. The other one, yeah, he is 28, yeah. He's a bit older, yeah.
You said the LGBT, the gay theme within the film isn't an overriding theme or something that's perhaps that important. I guess I'm a gay filmmaker, and it's a very delicate line you have to tread, because it does set things apart. The stories we need to hear now are diverse stories. They are things that perhaps we haven't heard much from. So that is an important thing to keep in there. And second of all, there's so many other elements that thread through these heartbreaking moments that perhaps you went through, where you may also feel shame, or you might feel rejection from people, or you might feel that you can't talk to particular people about it because you're gay. So it's going to be it's going to be different from a heterosexual couple that may have gone through the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that's important. Is that something that you're considering to keep in mind?
Everything is there. I mean, the moment that you have to tell your family, or it's like you have to tell, that sentence is okay, but it's there. Of course, it's there. I didn't want to make it like the main thing on the film, because I'm bi, but you're gay. I think if we only make films about LGBT, it's like we only can tell those stories. I've told stories about motherhood, and I'm not a woman, I'm not a mother, I'm not a father either, but I can tell those stories because I have a sensitivity. So in this way, I think like the same way. If I only tell stories in which the LGBT is the center of the story, it's like...
It doesn't need to be the center, and I think that the movie industry becomes quite oversaturated as well, where we intentionally play into these things. That's not good.
Yeah.
But it is going to be fundamentally, if one likes it or not, it's going to create significant differences for your character's art because of their sexuality.
Yeah.
So you can't ignore it, and I guess one of the biggest flaws in the film would be if that subject isn't approached sensitively.
True. I mean, you talked about the shame. That's a thing that is, of course, on the film about being rejected, and it's not only because you're gay and the other person is not, but also because someone doesn't love you back. So it's both. I mean, it goes all the way, all together. But it's there, of course, so important there. Thank you.
You're going to present it to TV3? So
yeah.
Do you have
the last...
Oh, yes.
I wanted to tell, but the time ran out. I want to present it to TV3, also to ISEC, and yeah, I would love to do it because also because of the cast.
Yeah.
And because of the language also. I think it's very important to raise Catalan in films. I mean, I born with that. I born also with Spanish, so I mean, both are in the movie. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, I would love to present that to TV3.
So Marcos, thank you very much. Our time has run out. And well, let's give him an applause for his project, please. And with Marcos, we have finished our pitching forum for today. I want to thank our pitchers for their great job and also our producers to give us and share with us their insights. So please give a big applause for all of you. Thank you so much. And as I said before, there's a buffet waiting for us in La Misericordia, which is only a few meters from here. It's finger food. It's meant to be very good. And there we will have time to keep on talking about pitches and anything you want. So let's go and eat. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Absolute pleasure.